Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Social Authority. It's Pat Hilton live. And today we're going to be talking about the stone cold truth of what it really takes to win the things that you want to do. And yeah, you're damn right. We're going to be talking about some stone cold Steve Austin references. Many people don't know what that guy really had to go through to become a superstar. I think it's a nice little tale of marketing, sales, and resilience that every single entrepreneur can learn from and add to their arsenal. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's Social Authority. Pat Hilton coming at you live.
Social Authority live. Yeah, we turning it up. Dallas, Texas, where they leveling up. You the star, now the stage is yours. Lights on blast, can't ignore. Film posts, get verified, it's your time. Social Authority live. TV run and the vibe go crazy. Lunch on lock and the footage look wavy. Team on deck with the edit so clean. Your brand on fire, that content mean. General pass, so you VIP. Every tier got clarity. You ain't here just watching the play. You the headline, stepping the sleigh. Oh, Social Authority live. Yeah, we turning it up.
We're turning it up in Dallas, Texas. It's your boy, Pat Hilton, coming to you live. I feel like I enjoy the headphones more than I do the wireless system. And so we've really kind of made the headphones part of the brand now. Check it out. Crazy stuff happening on the internet. Everything in the world can take your attention off the ball, but it is your job and your responsibility to stay on point and to remember that you are in control of your results. You are in control of what happens in your life. Not somebody else, not your sister, not your mom, not Donald Trump, not Joe Biden. Definitely not Pam Bondi or Kash Patel. They can't help you. Not only that, they won't. It's all on you. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are you going to do to face the world, as crazy as it might be, and still win anyway? So I was talking to my buddy Kyle Mallion this morning. We're always talking about marketing and sales. How can we make, the community better, ourselves better, help people shine online, get more deals, create more partnerships. And I always go back to pro wrestling, because in pro wrestling, you're an independent contractor. And if nobody likes your brand, nobody likes your character, you can't talk on the microphone, then you can't sell tickets. And your brand, your persona isn't marketable, and you eventually don't make it. I think so many times entrepreneurs are so concerned with the wrong things. I mean, I even see people, they focus way too hard on sales and their fulfillment is awful. They're sell. And then once you've bought something from them, they disappear, they ghost. They're awful. That doesn't work either, because eventually people find out that you're a complete piece of trash, and then they don't buy your stuff anymore. So Stone Cold Steve Austin, what the heck is the Stone Cold truth? Well, the Stone Cold truth is this: Steve Austin was a professional wrestler. He came out of the Texas area, performing in a lot of the areas that I'm now lingering in. And we've been coming through the Texas area since we were kids, because we know there's such a big market. And Steve Austin his talent was acquired by WCW, World Championship Wrestling, in the early 90s. And he was known as Stunning Steve Austin. He had this long blonde hair, and he was on a tag team with Brian Pillman. They were called the Hollywood Blondes. And eventually he became a singles wrestler. The tag team was no more. And the Stunning Steve Austin character just never took off in World Championship Wrestling. WCW never put him over. And at that time, WCW had acquired so much of WWF's talent, which was the Vince McMahon wrestling company. And after the big steroid scandal of the early 90s, a lot of pro wrestlers, i.e. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, even Ric Flair, left the WWF and went to WCW because they could get these big guaranteed contracts. And contracts like that were non-existent back in the day in pro wrestling. And they were getting this big money from Ted Turner. And with the big money came the big ratings. And so after a while, the Monday Night Raw television show had a competitor, Monday Nitro, which was WCW's Monday night broadcast. And WCW's Monday night broadcast was winning for a really long time, to the point where WWF was facing extinction. All their superstars were leaving and going to WCW. They had a couple of really great guys left. They had Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels had a pretty nice feud with Psycho Sid after he won the title the first time at WrestleMania 12 from Bret Hart in a 60-minute Iron Man match. And I know this stuff because it's marketing. It's all marketing and sales for a live entertainment brand. And so Shawn Michaels was the guy that they were kind of putting the money on. But I even know now that Shawn Michaels in his first title run wasn't really selling a lot of tickets. And so they made a faction called D-Generation X. And D-Generation X went up against the Hart Foundation, which was Bret Hart, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And so they had a feud between the Shawn Michaels faction and the Bret Hart faction, because that was such a big rivalry, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. Throughout that entire time, they were losing in the ratings. WWF was getting beat by WCW every single Monday night. Monday Nitro was getting better ratings. People were kind of clicking back and forth from TNT. It was either on TNT, I think it was on TNT, and USA Network. And Monday Nitro even added a third hour to their show just to make sure that people were logging on to their show, their broadcast, before WWF Monday Night Raw even started. They were WWF back then. This was before they became WWE. And WCW, through that time, fired a person named Steve Austin. They fired Steve Austin. He never really got the U.S. title shot that he was promised. He certainly didn't get a world title shot that he was promised. And after an injury, WCW fired Steve Austin. And Steve Austin went to an independent organization. The reason why this is so relevant is because right now, independent media is beating mainstream media. The same thing is happening now. So they fire this talent, Steve Austin. Steve Austin goes to an independent wrestling company called Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW. And he cuts this now famous promo bashing WCW, bashing Eric Bischoff for firing him, bashing Dusty Rhodes for not giving him any talent backstage to compete with, bashing Hogan, bashing Flair, making fun of the Macho Man, and saying that essentially all of these people have been holding me back from becoming the biggest superstar in pro wrestling. Vince McMahon sees this interview and he signs Steve Austin. Tells him, shave your head. We're going to call you Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that character got so widely popular, especially once he started to feud with Dwayne Johnson, who was known as The Rock, that it eventually put WCW out of business. So the same company that had acquired Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and a ton of other talent that Vince McMahon helped develop with his platform, who left for bigger contracts, they fired a mid-card guy, Steve Austin, who became the biggest talent for Vince McMahon, and eventually they acquired WCW. They put him out of business. They still own WCW to this day because WCW didn't know how to develop talent. They only knew how to acquire talent that was already created. Now, they did an okay job with Bill Goldberg, but even that just wasn't enough. He was not a sound performer. Why does this matter to you? Because you can be the best in the entire world. And if you are around the wrong people, or you're working for the wrong people, or the wrong people are putting you on, you're never going to make it the way that you know that you're capable of. And this happened to me for years. When I was first coming up in the conference scene, I was just the guy with the guitar. And I mean, everybody and their brother, because I played at that 10X event, everybody wanted to play at 10X. I got the job done while everybody else was sitting in the audience. Your favorite coach that you follow today was sitting in the audience while Pat Hilton was playing on the main stage at 10X Growth Con 2 at Mandalay Bay. Jot it down. And now all those clowns are on social media telling you that they can teach you how to be a sales pro when they learned it from the same guy that I learned it from, and that's Grant Cardone. I knocked my phone down. I'm so pumped up. And so you have to remember that not everybody is going to understand. Not everybody is going to feel your vibe. And some of the same people that let you go or fire you or overlook your talent that you think are so big and unbeatable will eventually become your competitors, number one, and you will eventually overpower them, number two, if you stick with it long enough. Because this has happened to me, just like it happened to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's fired from WCW. He gets acquired by WWF, as essentially no one knew who he was, and he became the biggest superstar on the freaking planet. And the same company that fired him was eventually put out of business by the same guy that they let go. So the stone cold truth about winning big is that not everyone is going to see the winner in you. Even someone like Steve Austin, who came out of the best background, the Dallas Sportatorium was where he first was competing, where all the Von Erichs came out of. There's movies about the Von Erichs. And WCW was like, no, we're going to let you go because you're just not what we're looking for. You're not a main eventer. Really? And then that same guy latches onto somebody else's train and becomes the biggest superstar on the planet. So why in the hell would you allow somebody to look you in your face and tell you that you're not cut out for the main event? Because at some point in your life, you're going to run into a situation where people see you doing what you do at a really, really high level, and they're going to say, yeah, I mean, it's just not main event material. It's super funny because I got a text or a message on Facebook the other day from somebody, and they said, hey, I'm on the board at this event run by this guy in San Diego. And he says he wants to outsource his MC this year. And you came to my mind. And the funny thing about that message was it was the same asshole from San Diego that 10 years ago told me that my talent wasn't worth anything. And I am not saying his name to protect the guilty, because he is guilty of shitting on Pat Hilton and saying that my stuff wasn't worth anything. And then his own people on the board of his garbage brand, I'll just say it what it is, it's garbage, are saying, oh man, we should get Pat Hilton. I don't even want the gig, nor do I need it. Because I don't even want to work with people like that. I just don't. And so I encourage you to get to a point where you can start to make those decisions for yourself. The only way that happens is if you keep doing what you do anyway, long after people doubt you. People are going to say, oh yeah, you're not cut out for the main event. Oh yeah, you're not cut out for this. You're not cut out for that. I used to perform in San Diego. There were two booking companies, and I will name these people by name. The Acoustic Spot and Gig Town Music. Neither one of those companies would ever book me, even though I was playing all over town. All over town. They book all these artists all over. They sign these contracts with these bars in San Diego and say that they support the local music scene, the independent music scene. But the only reason why they say that is because they outsource talent and they take a cut of your paycheck. So they essentially get paid a booking fee while you go out and sweat your ass off on the side of the, beach, the bay. Show up an hour early. You got to drive a half an hour to get to the place. Show up an hour early so you can set up. You play for 3 hours, tear down, then drive home a half hour. It's essentially like a 5-hour job. And they get paid just for booking you. And then they say, we support local music so much, wah, 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 when they're literally taking a cut of local musicians' paychecks. Because the bars, they don't even want to deal with independent people. They'd rather just hire out an agency that puts talent in the corner and they just pay the agency. Who knows how much they're making off the top? But they sure as hell wouldn't book me. Why? Because I was dangerous. I was a threat. I was a threat to the corporate structure of the San Diego acoustic booking market, and so they wouldn't put me on because they knew, Gig Town Music in San Diego knew, if we keep putting Pat Hilton on these time slots, he's going to absolutely bury the place, and he's going to make a relationship with the bar owner, and he's going to cut us out of the middle. We cannot have him getting into our bars. They knew it. I remember there's an article in the San Diego Reader. You can probably go look it up where I was bashing them. And I said in the article, one day I'm going to be playing in front of an arena and I'm going to shove it down these people's throats. And I went out and I did it. While the little Harvard chump that wouldn't book me, ran away and they freaking exited. That company probably doesn't even exist anymore. And I was the only one with a backbone in the San Diego music scene that was willing to call out Gig Town Music for being pieces of shit. And they were wrong. I won their jingle contest by thousands of votes, and some other kid got to open up for Steve Miller, and I had to sit at home when I won. You're going to have to deal with this at some point. All of you are. Somebody's going to rob you blind out of an opportunity that you earned, and you're either going to keep going or you're going to sit in the corner and pout. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to smash my head through a wall that day, seeing some other kid play opening for Steve Miller when I kicked the shit out of that kid in the contest. I have the screenshots. I keep the screenshot on my phone of my jingle getting thousands more votes than that kid, and Gig Town Music screwed me. And then I kept writing jingles, and what do you know? Grant Cardone hears a jingle and puts me on stage in front of 10,000 people in an arena. The same thing I said that was going to happen in the article when I was bashing that company. And they deserve to be bashed because they're pieces of shit. At what point are you going to stand up for yourself? At what point are you going to say, I'm worth more than what I'm getting, and I'm not going to show up anymore unless I'm getting what I require? You're going to save yourself a whole lot of heartache. But first, you got to put the points on the board that prove that you're worth X. That was the thing that I didn't have. I was just some broke-ass musician in San Diego talking shit. Yeah, well, I back it up. And I have continued to back it up to the point where I don't even need a guitar to beat these losers. I don't even need it. What do I need that for? So think about this. When it comes to marketing yourself, you're going to start marketing yourself. You're going to be surrounded by people that see your talent, that know you're dangerous, and they're going to be like, no, we got to keep him off the frickin' main event, because if he shows up in that time slot, he's going to be so good, he's going to take away from us. Those people never make it anyway. They never make it anyway. They're not good bookers. They're not good marketers. They're not leaders. Leaders know how to put other people over so that they can win even bigger. I started marketing and singing songs about other people, and that was how I got opportunities. When I just wanted to be Pat the Rock Star, Gig Town Music screwing me over. Ironically, it's a guy who's pretty much a billionaire now that sees my song, him and his wife. It was Elena Cardone, who clearly has fine taste in music and in men. Her husband's clearly very successful, who looked at the thing and was like, this is freaking brilliant. Really? It's brilliant? Because these people in San Diego are telling me I'm a knucklehead and they're screwing me out of opening for Steve Miller. Why don't I come and play at Mandalay Bay for you? And of course, they put me on. Because I didn't even realize it until it was too late that I had surrounded myself with assholes. And once I stopped surrounding myself with assholes, I started getting different results. So sometimes you've got the talent, you've got the skill, you've got the service of the product, you've got what the world needs, but since you're surrounded by assholes, nothing's happening for you. And once you flip and you change your environment, well, look at what happens. In WCW, Steve Austin never got the title shots. He never got the big push. But when Vince McMahon hired him, he became Stone Cold Steve Austin, this character that all of us know and love. But when he was Stunning Steve in WCW, you probably don't even know that he was a character with long blonde hair in WCW. You might be finding this out for the first time because that company did not know how to utilize his talent. WWF with Vince McMahon, WWE now, knew how to take that guy's talent, shapeshift him into a bad guy, and turn him into a worldwide sensation. But the assholes at WCW, they fired him. And once he had an opportunity to come back under a different persona, under a brand that actually allowed him to be himself, he was the biggest thing on the planet. So, ladies and gentlemen, the whole point is you could be the best thing since sliced bread. And a lot of people, they're going to see your talent. They're going to see how good you are. And they're going to be like, oh, dude, well, we can't let people see that. Because if people see how good this person is, they're not going to do business with us anymore. So Gig Town Music and the acoustic spot in San Diego never booked Pat Hilton on anything. Because if I would have showed up and played those time slots, I would have kicked the shit out of those places. And those people would have done business with me every week. And they didn't because those people held me back. And then the second Grant Cardone gets a hold of one of my clips from his wife, him and his wife are like, this is brilliant. Let's book this guy to play in front of 10,000 people. Interesting, because I'm not a threat to someone that's actually successful. I'm an asset. Some of the people that you're surrounded by do not want you to win. They don't want you to win. They want you to be broke. They want it to be hard for you. Why? Because then they can control you. Then you're not a threat. Successful people, wealthy people, look at somebody like you and your skills, and they say, hey man, this guy's got something that he can bring to the table. Let's put him on the stage. Let's give him a shot. Because if it works for him, he's going to tell everybody how great Grant Cardone is. He's going to tell everybody how great 10X is. He's going to tell everybody how great that Elena found the song and that we gave him an opportunity. It's 6 or 7 years later, and I'm still telling that story because it's so significant. Because everybody wanted to be on that stage. Most people weren't. They were sitting in the audience. And I have yet to find another entrepreneur in this space that can draw as many people to their conference as Grant Cardone. I've never seen anybody do it that big ever since I met that guy and performed on his stage. No one has even come close. Tony Robbins started before Cardone. So if that's your comparison, I wouldn't even compare. They're two different things. When it comes to the celebrity entrepreneur, with the wife, with the kids, with the brand like that, nobody's done it like Cardone. Nobody. But it's funny that a guy like that with that much swagger, that much, loud, ego as part of his brand, sees a video from a no-name musician and says, yeah, let's give him a shot on the stage. because usually those are the people that are looked at as the bad guys. Oh, he doesn't, what does he know? He's just some rich guy. Oh, he knows talent. He knows skills. He knows discipline. He knows when somebody's got something and they don't. And the difference between wealthy people and everybody else, the 1% and everybody else, is that they are not threatened by people with talent. They look at them as an asset, not like a threat. So when you feel that threatening backlash from people that do not want to support you or your talent or your skills, they put you down, they don't give you opportunities, and you're like, this has to be on purpose, right? Yeah, it's because they're threatened by you because you're dope, you're dangerous. Blow them away with your talent. Blow them away. Make them pay. Steve Austin was fired from WCW, then was hired by Vince McMahon, and became Stone Cold Steve Austin, the biggest thing on the planet. Who's to say that the person that fired you or screwed you over or stole from your deal or whatever, who's to say you can't prove that person wrong in the same fashion? I think you're capable of it. Sometimes you just need a little reminder that every superstar that you've ever seen in any category had to deal with a similar scenario. That whole entire San Diego music scene was rigged. And I was booked every single night of the week at these little bars, Hennessy's mainly, that were independent bars that were not owned by those booking agencies. And they hated me. They hated me because they couldn't control me. Screwed me out of opening for Steve Miller. Fuck Gig Town Music. Still here. And you're still here. So go out and make it happen. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Hustle, step it up. Hustle, step it up. Haters, buckle up. Social authority coming for you suckers. Better listen up. Better listen up. Better listen up. Hustle, step it up. Hustle, step it up. Haters, buckle up. Social authority coming for you suckers. Better listen up. Better listen up. Better listen up. Contact, you get what you attract. Mindset, gotta keep it on track. Fuck anybody standing in my way. I'm coming for everything I ever wanted today. Stand up if you're ready to transform. Stand up if you wanna be reborn. Put in the work, go all the way. Step into the grind every single day. Step it up, hustle, step it up. Haters, buckle up. Social authority coming for you suckers. Better listen up, better listen up. Better listen up, hustle, step it up.